we're going to start with the England-Croatia match. So this one, well, go on. What did you think to England-Croatia? We'll do it in the same way we do Wednesday matches.
I thought it was a very slow build-up from us. I think we lack any kind of, like, just going for it. You know, I would have thought being at home and in front of our own fans, we would have that, like, energy to go forward. But it's done the negative effect. Like, it's actually gone, oh, hang on, we have to do
That's
a bit
weird.
better.
I thought different against Croatia, because I can see what you're saying in that in general, but, like, against Croatia, I felt like we were actually... We looked really good on the ball. We looked really good going forward. We didn't take enough chances, in my opinion. But I actually thought we looked like, we look like a side who can play football here. Because if you remember the World Cup when we played Croatia, they passed us off the park.
They did.
Where it was the opposite when we played Croatia. So I did actually watch that going, well, it's a 1-0. England get a 1-0. It's the way Southgate lines us up. He's gone a bit cautious. Phillips was incredible.
He was.
You know, and I just thought, like, okay, we've got something here, and I think he's played a bit more cautiously here. But when we play sides that are like, you know, third lowest ranked, such as Scotland, I expect to see more attacking options. I was very shocked to see Sterling start the tournament. And then obviously, as I tweeted, get Grealish on for him. Now he obviously scores.
But now, after like seeing him in the Scotland game, I can understand where you're going with Sterling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the kind of thing where you watch both games and say, yeah, we played well in the first game, but in the Scotland game, there was no lack of urgency.
There was no urgency, yeah.
We were played off the park. Scotland deserved to win that.
I disagree. Right, but here's the thing. This is not being bitter. I've heard that side of it, and I've heard people say that quite a lot, that Scotland were the deserved winners of that match. That's crap, right? Because they weren't deserved winners. Any team with actual, and I'm not saying this, a quarter of me is feeling betrayed now because the quarter Scottish here.
Yeah.
But like any decent side, really decent side, would have ripped England apart when we played Scotland.
Yeah, but also any decent side would have ripped Scotland apart. Same thing.
That's what I'm saying, but it was just the way Souness was saying it. I was like, right, your bias is showing here, mate.
To be fair, so Souness was starting to get on my nerves. I really wanted to punch him in the face.
it was just a case of.
It's the one time I've seen Roy Keane stand there going, "I really want to hit you. I really want to hit you." Shut up.
Southgate got it wrong, completely wrong, and that was the issue. It was almost as if the players had the players had the brakes put on them, and they couldn't, they weren't letting, he wasn't releasing the players to do what they meant to do. I know that we are going to struggle in this tournament when I am watching, because this is what I'm saying, we made it easy for Scotland because we could have ripped their defence apart if players like Sterling wouldn't take the ball and just run straight into the defenders. It's like me on FIFA. I used to get comments like, why are you, because I'd usually try and do a skill move just before I hit a player, and half the time I'd fail miserably because I'm not the best at FIFA. So, like, I used to just run with the ball straight into the defender, expecting to get past them. That's almost as if what our attack was doing against Scotland, trying to run straight at the defence and expecting us to get past them.
The chances we had, like that Stones header was superb, and he was stretching for it.
Scored, though.
He should have done, yeah. That chance Kane had, even though he was offside, it felt like every time they were stretching. And going on to, I think Kane's been massively effective with the whole transfer talk before the tournament.
No, I just think he's knackered.
He just doesn't look. He looks unfit. You're right. He don't look there. And the only thing is, when you look at it, who else would you replace Kane with to come on? I know Rashford came on.
I wouldn't, because the person I'd have replaced, and this is going to be weird from a Wednesday podcast, but the person I'd have replaced Kane with is Bamford, and he didn't pick Bamford.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking, I said this at the time, if you're looking for a sort of like to like, Bamford is the only other English player I see striker that does similar things to Kane. So if you've got a Kane that's unfit and needs a rest, say the next match will be perfect, so instead of starting Kane, starting someone like Bamford. But Calvert-Lewin's not been in great form at the latter end of the season. I think he was great before. But if you are adapting the team to play Harry Kane, why not have another player that can play a similar style to Harry Kane for if Harry Kane gets injured, which is quite common for Harry Kane at the minute.
Yeah.
You know?
To be fair, it's the usual thing with England. When we look like we've got a good team and we're all positive that we're going to do well, we don't do that well. When we don't feel like we're positive, it's that whole thing of England always play better when there's no expectation on them to do anything. And there've been a couple of tournaments where we've seen the team, there's no expectation, and they got on and had a fantastic tournament. This one just seems like we built them up a little bit too much.
I don't think we have. I get what you mean. But and I hate to say this because I was a staunch defender of Southgate, going, you can only play who you're up against, and and Croatia, yes, it was bad, but he still got us to a semi-final. Yeah. But watching these first two games, especially the Scotland game, what got me is I was going, Grealish has to come on. I see Grealish warming up. I see Grealish at the side of the pitch, and I'm like, it's happening. It's going to do it. Sterling come off, put Grealish on. Yeah. He takes Foden off for Grealish. He won't put Grealish and Foden in the same side against Scotland. So if he's not going to put them against Scotland, he's never going to put them in the same side.
And you know what the stupid thing is? If Grealish goes to Man City with Foden in the team, they are going to be immense.
I just don't get it. He was playing Foden out of position. Yeah. And then he sub Foden for Grealish. And I just think like he could have done everything better in that. You've got Sancho, right? Sancho has 114 goal involvements, goal and assist, because that's how we do things now, in 137 games for Dortmund.
And he's on the bench.
Yeah, and in the first squad, he wasn't in the squad.
Yeah.
He was one of the 3 players that had to get left out because of the 26-man thing. You can only name 23 in the matchday squad. Anything is better than the way. Why is Sterling in there? And the goal, I actually would say against Croatia, if we didn't play Sterling, even though we scored the goal, and yes, he justified his place in with the goal, if we'd have actually played a more more creative players, we'd have got 2 or 3.
Mm.
We've handicapped ourselves in a way, and I actually think Sterling's a very good player, but at the minute he's not on form, and England are relying on him too much. And I think it's because he keeps doing this line, Southgate, of young players. If they're young and you don't back them, don't send them, don't use them as an excuse. If they're good enough, they're old enough. That sort of that old line. Use them.
Yeah.
Instead,
what it is? You know what it is? It's not. He hasn't got his waistcoats anymore. He's lost his attacking ability with his waistcoats.
I'm just annoyed because this is a prime example of us. And people go, "Oh well, every fan's a manager, and everyone's got their opinions, and he knows the players better than anybody because he's there all the time." And I'm like, yes, but anybody who watches these players on a regular weekly basis, like we all have, like most of us have done through lockdown because there's not been much else to do, and know what talent we've got in the squad, and to watch him utilize them in such a weird way, And I've not even mentioned the fact he put Trippier at left back. And
also, if you look at what Scotland did, Scotland had a game plan. Scotland attacked, they went for it. And fair play. And some of the tackles they left in was a proper England-Scotland game in the sense that they know how to play.
I can tell your wife's Scottish.
Oh, yeah.
If you didn't say this, you'd be in trouble.
No, but I'm actually... They did have that ability where they were going at it. They went for it.
Yeah, they had great chances, but we let him have it. That's what I'm saying. It's weird. We are trying to defend too much and put out a defensive team in a team that's not got a very good defense. No. So why not just outscore your opponents and then have to go a bit defensive if we can? Because yes, we've seen now we can keep clean sheets. We've got 2 of them. But we're not going to do that when we come up against France, Germany, Portugal. We're not going to do that. Right?
Oh, we come against them, we're screwed.
And people talk about, and I think I'm right in saying this, it might need fact checking, but I think I'm right in saying this. People are saying, like, we should go second in the group because then we get, an easier tie next time. But if we get through the round of 16, that way, second in the group and get the easier tie, I think the way that lines up is we will then still get the group we were going to play in the round of 16, but most likely we're going to come up against France in the quarters. Whereas if we won the group and beat like Portugal, Germany, because France are probably going to top the group, we'll see what happens. If we beat them in the round of 16, we shouldn't really get France until the final. So I'd rather go that route and have the strength there and attack teams and take it to teams. And I just think, I don't know what you're doing with your camera, but I don't think...
My camera decided it don't like my lens. Hang on a minute.
Right, okay. I think Southgate's got a bit negative. Is your feed still rolling, by the way, Punk?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So I don't have to edit any of this out, because I swear to God, if you make my life difficult.
I know, I'm a dead man.
Yeah, but I think... I just think Southgate got it wrong, and I really want to see against the Czech Republic. Czech Republic, who are likely to top the group at this rate, by the way. Let's not even start about them. I did find it funny that they were doing the Saturday Night song for David Marshall in London yesterday.
God, yeah.
They were chanting it when he got lobbed from like the halfway line.
To be fair, I've just been loving all the memes on that. The memes of them have been amazing.
I will say, like, obviously I've got Scottish family and stuff, and it is banter, and there is that thing in there. I will say, and it sounds like I'm about to praise them, but I'm not. I will say it was, they were celebrating a 0-0 like they just won a cup, which was...
to be fair, but biggest game they've had for a long time.
Yeah, I know, but I feel it's patronising to say that, because if you think about it, like, Scotland clearly have got a very good way of playing and a very good setup, and actually, if they were a team with quality and they'd have actually performed as well as some people are giving them credit for, they should have beat that England side last night. But the fact is they still didn't. Do you know what I mean? So I can say that England were absolutely terrible, but Scotland still didn't beat them. So I put it on Twitter. If any time that Scotland side were going to beat England, it was going to be last night, because Southgate got it wrong. He got it wrong, and and that's just the way it is. And then we're going to get out of the group.
They gave it a good chance as well, didn't they?
We're going to get out of the group, even if it's like as the third place team, because obviously 4 points is, because there could be a situation. There's most likely going to be a situation actually where, no, but there could be a situation where, say Scotland beat Croatia, by a few goals, they could get second. Say Croatia beat Scotland by a few goals, they could get second because of the tight margins in our matches, sort of thing. You know, Czech Republic, if we lose to Czech Republic, that is, because then Czech Republic could top the group. So we're not even guaranteed second, but we are at the way the Euros are structured this year. It does look like we're out of the group. So,
we hope.
Yeah, I think in terms of Kane, we were talking about Kane a little bit more. I just think he's playing too deep, personally. He played it from under Mourinho, and it worked with Son. But as I said, he's not letting the shackles off the attacking players as much. Foden's the only one that's really making decent runs. Sterling's running into players. You know, if Kane's going to come deep and link up the play a little bit more, he needs to be able to... Them players need to be making them runs all the time and actually getting past the opposition defenders and getting in those positions. But I do think he's a little bit too jaded to make those runs at the minute. Just play him as a proper striker. Let him sit along the back line. Let him do what he knows. Let him sit along the back line, get into the box whenever he can, and let the young, pacey players... Oh, for God's sake, just put either Foden or Grealish on the left and put Sancho on the right. Let them do the running and the creativity. Have Harry Kane in and around the box where he needs to be, because he's got one of the probably the best shot on him in the world currently, arguably with Lewandowski. You know, so stick him in and around the box and he'll score. How the hell? Yeah. I'm just a random lad on the internet, and I can say that. Do you know what I mean? So
to be fair, there've been a lot of people, even pundits, saying that's the way we should be playing. And it's really weird when you look at some of the transfer talk at the minute that Grealish could be going to City. There's a possibility that maybe Kane goes to City.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can imagine a team with Sterling, Grealish, and Kane in a Premier League team, it would be scary. So if they can do it, if you have that in a Premiership, imagine what they'd be like playing for the country.
It'd be great. It'd be great to see. I think Man City, with their money, they could really. The one thing that we say is that a lot of people say that the Premier League it's not about the English teams, and it's backed up by a lot of foreign players that make the league great. And I understand that. And it's a big sign that the English managers don't win the Premier League, So it comes down to the manager there as well. But if a team like City could make a front three of English players sort of thing, that would really help.
Exactly.
Do you remember back in the day when Wenger was talking about he was going to build England a spine?
Yeah.
And he was going to build us a spine because that's what our team needed to do. They could definitely do it. But I do sort of think that we've got the best chance in terms of players that we've got at the minute, and people keep using this young players thing, but I'm sorry, that squad on paper with a really good manager, you give that team to a Klopp, a Pep, even a Mourinho, they're winning the Euros.
Yeah.
Because it's about the tactical way you set up against teams. Yes, we'd probably struggle against France, but France aren't miraculous as a team. They've got some world-class players in there, but France have got their pitfalls you can exploit if you've got the right tactical know-how.
But then again, Didier Deschamps is a very, very good manager.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
He's proven it at every level. The problem with Southgate is you've got a manager who didn't really want the England job when he got it, got it, managed to do some decent success while he's had it, and now, like a lot of people say, we're starting to have that Roy Hodgson feeling of, well, it coming to the end, he probably doesn't want to do it anymore. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing, but there's part of me, if you didn't want the job in the first place, how much of you were in this? You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying. I think we'll find out.
Next game will be interesting.
Yeah, find out against the Czech Republic. But there is a very big chance that we could get dunked out in the round of 16 here.